I'm a journalist from Georgia, and today I want to speak about a possibility to live without Russia. For Georgians. Learning how to live without Russia could be a lengthy and painful process for the Georgian people, but certainly not impossible. For centuries, these two nations have learned each other's ways and means. For example, the Georgians have learned how to speak Russian, and the Russians have learned how to be a tamada, a toastmaster. The conventional wisdom is that things change. This is exactly what has happened to Russian-Georgian relations. Yesterday's friends have become today's enemies. Isn't this awful? But it's okay. We can survive without each other, but not without certain amount of sweat. One of the lingering problems is that the Russophile generation in Georgia is still alive, and they are certainly more comfortable with the Russian language and culture than with Anglo-American. And not simply comfortable, they can't imagine life without Russian poetry and arts, language and music, opera and ballet. They think they are the integral part of all that. They were brought up that way. Anything Russian was second native for all of us for a very long time. Suffice it to say that the names of automata parts are still used in Russian. The Russian barbarisms are still so common in the Georgian language that we don't even notice their commonplace usage. There are Russian schools and preschools around. There are Russian newspapers, Russian radio and television. People speak Russian and sing Russian songs, sell and buy Russian books, and read them, of course. Why is this happening? Because the Russian-based Soviet way of life is still here. It is not going away. It is like plague. Russians own firms and enterprises in Georgia. Russians are coming and going. They are living here, but they don't even speak Georgian, being not concerned at all with knowing the state language of the country they are citizens of. There are Russian signs around. The movies are dubbed into Russian. The Russian internet sites are popular, and hundreds of thousands of Georgians have relatives in Russia, working and living there. There is X number of Russian-Georgian mixed marriages, so it is not easy to divorce Russia, and the marriage is very heavy and painful. All this is happening on the background of unbridled political and military animosity between the two countries. The two nations currently exist in the status of arch enemies to each other. So what is the bottom line? Living without Russia seems to be the imminent perspective for Georgia. Georgia has to learn how to live without Russia. And most importantly, the Georgian people must get rid of the fear that Russia is a big neighbor and there is no way to fight it. Yes, Georgia can fight Russia with talent, wits, morality, knowledge and intellect. We don't need bombs and bullets against Russia. Georgia is above physical belligerency against Russia. Georgia has enough moral and intellectual power to defy the brutal Russian force, which is ready to bridle and shackle the freedom-loving Georgian soul and mind. But first, we have to learn how to live without Russia. Wasting time will not make sense. The heretofore quiescent Georgian dignity is up and running to do the job.